Before we begin, let me ask you something honestly. How many brilliant people have been silenced just because they didn't fit the system? If you enjoy powerful stories with real emotion, shocking twists, and life lessons that stay with you, like the video, subscribe, and stay until the end, because this story proves that being quiet is not the same as being incapable. They didn't even whisper it. They said out loud, useless. That was the word attached to Ben Carter from the moment he stepped into Westbridge Secondary School. Teachers said it with sighs. Students said it with laughter. Even some parents said it when they thought he couldn't hear. Ben sat at the back of every classroom, shoulders hunched, eyes down, hands rough from repairing broken electronics late into the night. His uniform was always clean but worn, his shoes cracked at the soles. He never caused trouble, never argued, never defended himself. And in a school like Westbridge, silence was seen as weakness. "Why do you even come to school?" a boy once asked him in the corridor. Ben didn't answer. He just kept walking. Ben lived in a small flat above a takeaway shop where his mother worked 6 days a week. His father had died years earlier in a construction accident that no company ever took responsibility for. Since then, Ben learned two things very early in life: how to survive and how to fix things. Old radios, broken phones, faulty circuit boards people threw away. Ben took them apart, studied them, rebuilt them. Not for money, for understanding. But understanding didn't earn respect in his classroom. One afternoon, exam papers were handed back. Top score again, Oliver Hayes announced loudly, leaning back in his chair. 94%. The teacher smiled. Excellent as always, Oliver. Then she sighed. Benjamin Carter. Ben stood. 32%. Laughter burst across the room. Oliver turned and grinned. "Mate, that's embarrassing." At this point, it's not even trying. Ben nodded quietly and sat down. What no one knew was that Ben had deliberately left half the paper blank. Not because he couldn't answer it, but because memorizing definitions and copying formulas felt meaningless to him. His mind didn't store facts. It solved problems. And no exam had ever asked him to do that. Until now. 2 weeks later, the head teacher made an announcement during assembly. "This year's national exam will include a new section," she said. "Applied reasoning, real-world problem-solving, analytical thinking." The hall buzzed. Oliver smirked. "Easy marks." Ben felt his heart begin to race. For the first time, something inside him whispered, "This one is for you." Exam day arrived. The hall was silent except for the sound of pens scratching paper. When Ben turned to the final section, his breath caught. Electrical fault diagnosis, logic chains, pattern breakdowns, systems thinking. This wasn't theory. This was his world. For the first time in his life, Ben didn't feel small in an exam hall. He felt calm, confident. He finished early and placed his pen down. The invigilator frowned. "You're finished?" "Yes, sir." She hesitated, then nodded. Across the room, Oliver was sweating. "These questions don't even make sense," he muttered. Ben didn't look up. Results day came faster than Ben expected. Students gathered in the hall, buzzing with nerves. Oliver leaned back, arms crossed. First place again. Obviously. Ben sat still, hands clenched. The head teacher stepped forward with the results envelope. Third place, citywide, Sarah Mitchell. Applause. Second place, Oliver Hayes. The room gasped. Oliver froze. Second, the head teacher paused. In first place, with the highest score ever recorded by this school, Ben's heart pounded so hard it hurt. Benjamin Carter. Silence. Then chaos. "That's impossible." The quiet kid, the useless one. Ben stood slowly, shaking. The head teacher smiled. Benjamin achieved a perfect score in applied reasoning. Something no student has ever done. Oliver stood up. This has to be a mistake. But it wasn't. The boy they mocked had just shocked the entire city. The silence didn't last long. Whispers turned into arguments. Arguments turned into disbelief. Ben stood at the front of the hall, staring at the floor, wishing the noise would stop. He didn't feel proud. Not yet. He felt exposed. The head teacher raised her hand. "Enough. Benjamin earned this." Oliver stormed out. Later that afternoon, Ben was called into the head teacher's office. Two unfamiliar adults were waiting inside. One man in a tailored suit, one woman with a folder thick with documents. "This is Dr. Williams from the National STEM Council," the head teacher explained, "and Ms. Clark from the City Scholarship Board." Ben swallowed. Dr. Williams smiled warmly. "Ben, your exam didn't just pass. It flagged an anomaly." Ben frowned. "Anomaly?" "Yes," she said. "Your problem-solving patterns match those of professional engineers." Ben blinked. "I just fix broken things." Ms. Clark leaned forward. "We'd like to offer you a full scholarship. Tuition, living support, and mentorship." Ben's breath caught. "My mom," he whispered. "She's included," Ms. Clark said gently. "Housing assistance, too." For the first time in years, Ben felt tears burn his eyes. The next day, the school felt different. Teachers greeted him by name. Students who once laughed now avoided his eyes. Oliver approached him at lunch, face tight with anger and embarrassment. "You think you're better than everyone now?" Oliver snapped. Ben looked up calmly. "No, I think I was always good. You just never noticed." Oliver had no response. At the award ceremony that weekend, Ben stood on stage before parents, officials, and cameras. His mother sat in the front row, hands shaking, tears streaming down her face. "I was told for years that I wasn't smart," Ben said into the microphone, voice steady. "But intelligence doesn't always look loud. Sometimes it looks quiet. Sometimes it looks like fixing broken things when no one's watching." The room stood. Applause thundered. Months later, Ben moved into his new flat near the university. He studied engineering. He thrived, but he never forgot Westbridge. He donated old equipment to the school, started a repair club for students like him, spoke to quiet kids sitting at the back. "You're not useless," he told them. "You're just unheard." Moral: never confuse silence with stupidity. Never mistake difference for weakness. And never underestimate someone just because they don't shine the way you expect. Let me ask you this. Have you ever been judged before you were understood? Tell us in the comments. If this story moved you, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more stories that remind us what really matters.